Is your engine shaking violently at stoplights and struggling to accelerate while the check engine light flashes on your dash? You are likely dealing with the P0360 trouble code, which indicates a malfunction in the primary or secondary circuit for ignition coil J. In the United States, almost all modern engines have abandoned old spark plug wires in favor of a coil-on-plug ignition system. This means there is an individual ignition coil sitting directly on top of every single spark plug. Your powertrain control module sends a precise electrical ground signal to each coil, telling it exactly when to fire and ignite the fuel in the cylinder. The letter J refers to the 10th cylinder in your engine firing order. When the computer detects an open circuit or a short circuit in the driver wire for coil number 10, it sets this specific code. The symptoms of a dead ignition coil are impossible to ignore. You will experience a severe engine misfire, terrible hesitation when you press the gas pedal, a major drop in your fuel economy, and a flashing malfunction indicator lamp, which means raw fuel is dumping into your expensive catalytic converter. The root causes for this code almost always point to an electrical failure. You most likely have a bad ignition coil that has burned out internally, a short to voltage or ground on the driver circuit wire, a loose electrical connector right at the coil, or in very rare and expensive cases, a fried powertrain control module. To troubleshoot this issue in your driveway, first pop the hood and locate the ignition coil for cylinder number 10. Perform a thorough visual inspection of the two wires going into the coil plug. Look for any wires that are rubbing against metal brackets, cracking from extreme engine heat, or chewed up by rodents. Grab the connector and give it a wiggle while the engine is running. If the engine suddenly smooths out, you have a loose connection that needs to be repaired. If the wiring looks perfectly intact, you can try swapping the ignition coil from cylinder 10 with a coil from a different cylinder. Clear the codes with a basic scanner, and take the car for a drive. If the misfire code follows the bad coil to the new cylinder, you know for a fact that the coil is dead and simply needs to be replaced. However, if the misfire stays on cylinder 10 even with a good coil, you have a much deeper electrical problem. Because testing the high-frequency hertz signals coming from the computer requires a digital multimeter, and accidentally probing the wrong wire can instantly destroy your main engine computer, this is the exact moment you should bring your vehicle to a certified mechanic. They can safely trace the voltage short, verify the computer driver is actually sending the trigger signal, and get your engine running perfectly smooth again. Drive safely out there.